Welcome back to Discover Your Dreams. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful transitions many of us face, the years between 45 and 55, when life begins to shift in ways we couldn't have fully imagined in our 20s or 30s. For some, this is the season of the empty nest, children growing up, leaving for college, or building lives of their own. For others, it's the moment when a career starts to feel less fulfilling, or retirement begins to peek over the horizon. Sometimes it's a change in relationships, a divorce, a new marriage, or a sense of drifting apart from people we've known for decades. And then there's the quieter, more subtle shift, the inner voice asking, who am I now? What is my purpose in this next chapter? Midlife is not an ending, it's a turning point. It is the crossroads between what has been and what can be. Now, if you're listening to this, chances are you felt it too. That subtle tug in your soul that says, there's something more. I'm not finished yet. My best years are not behind me, they are in front of me. This stage of life can feel confusing, even frightening. But I want you to know it is also profoundly sacred. It is the perfect time to reinvent, to rediscover, and to rewrite the script of your life. And in this video, we're going to talk about how you can do exactly that, using the timeless teachings of Neville Goddard, who reminds us of the incredible creative power within us, waiting to be awakened. Think about it. The first half of your life was largely shaped by external roles and responsibilities, raising children, building careers, supporting families, meeting expectations of society, culture, and maybe even religion. But at midlife, something begins to shift. The external demands lessen, and suddenly there's space, a space that can feel like a void. This is the moment where many people panic. They think, I've lost my purpose, my time has passed, I don't know who I am anymore. But Neville would say, that void is not emptiness, it is fertile ground. It is the raw material of creation. He reminds us that all transformation begins with an intense burning desire to be transformed. You must want to be different before you can begin to change yourself. Then you make this desire concrete by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In other words, this stage of life is not a dead end. It is an invitation to create, to reimagine, to plant new seeds of desire into the fertile soil of your imagination. Let me share a story. I know a woman. Let's call her Lisa. For 25 years, she was a devoted mother, pouring her heart into raising her kids. Her identity was mom. Her days were filled with school pickups, sports practices, and late-night talks. Then one day, she stood in the doorway and waved goodbye as her youngest left for college. She walked back inside, looked around at the quiet house, and thought, now what? At first, Lisa felt lost. She wandered through her days, feeling both free and deeply unsettled. But then she remembered something she had learned years earlier about Neville Goddard and the power of imagination. So she began small. Each night, she sat quietly, closed her eyes, and imagined herself in a new role. She saw herself teaching art classes, something she had always dreamed of but never pursued. She imagined the joy of students smiling, the sound of laughter, the smell of paint. At first it felt silly, but she persisted, and within a year, Lisa was running weekly art workshops at a local studio, something that not only brought her income, but filled her heart with joy and purpose. Her empty nest had become a full life. And here's the truth. Lisa is not unique. Every one of us has the power to imagine a new chapter into being. This is what Neville meant when he said, dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. So as we move forward, I want you to ask yourself, what do I dare to believe about myself now? Because the second half of your life is waiting to be written, and you are the author. One of the most powerful and often disorienting aspects of midlife is the feeling of a void. When children leave the nest, when careers start to plateau, or when relationships change, it can feel like someone pulled the ground out from under us. Suddenly, the routines and identities that once defined us are gone, or at least drastically altered, and in their place is silence, space, emptiness. This can be uncomfortable, even frightening. Many people rush to fill it with distractions, overworking, over-shopping, or numbing ourselves with food, alcohol, or endless scrolling. Anything to avoid facing that quiet question, who am I now? But here's the secret. What feels like emptiness is actually the most fertile ground of your life. Neville Goddard often spoke about the void as the place of creation. He said, "Out of nothing all things are made. Every visible thing was produced by the imagination of man." When roles shift in midlife, we are brought back to the place of nothing. No longer defined by who needed us or what was demanded of us, we are free, though it may not feel that way at first. The void is not a punishment. It is a reset button. It is the space where you get to ask, what do I really want now? Who do I want to become in this next chapter? What dream have I put aside that still longs for expression? Instead of rushing to fill the void with busy work or distractions, what if you saw it as a sacred space, a chance to meet yourself again? Let's take a moment together. Close your eyes if you are able. Take a deep breath, in and out. Now imagine yourself standing in a wide open room. The walls are blank. The floor is clear. There is nothing in the room but you. At first, it might feel unsettling. Where is the furniture? Where are the familiar objects that tell you who you are? But notice something else. In this empty room, you can place anything you want. You can design it however you choose. This is your life right now. It may feel empty, but it is actually limitless potential. What would you like to place in that room? A paintbrush? A passport? A microphone? A garden spade? A book with your name on the cover? Take a moment to see it clearly in your mind. That right there is the beginning of a new chapter. I know a man named Mark. At 52, he retired early after decades in corporate management. Everyone told him he should feel lucky, financial security, time on his hands, freedom. But Mark felt lost. His days felt like a blur. He missed the sense of purpose that came from leading a team, setting goals, and achieving them. He confided, "I thought I wanted rest, but what I really want is meaning." So he decided to lean into the void instead of fighting it. He asked himself, what have I always loved but never pursued? The answer surprised him. Woodworking. He had dabbled in it as a hobby but always pushed it aside as impractical. Using Neville's techniques of living in the end, Mark began imagining himself standing in a workshop, hands dusty with sawdust, creating beautiful furniture. He felt the pride of showing a finished table to a customer, the joy of working with his hands. 6 months later, Mark was running a small woodworking studio from his garage. He sold custom pieces at local fairs and online. It didn't replace his corporate salary, but that wasn't the point. His life felt full again. Here's the truth. Without that void, Mark would never have discovered his second calling. And without the silence of the empty house, Lisa, the mom we met earlier, would never have picked up her paintbrush again. The void strips away what no longer serves us. It clears the canvas. It gives us permission to start fresh. Neville reminded us, you must be willing to let go of what you are to become what you want to be. So instead of fearing the void, what if you welcomed it? What if you saw it as the threshold of your rebirth? I want you to try something today. Grab a notebook, and at the top of a blank page, write the question, what does my void make room for? Then let yourself write freely. Don't censor. Don't judge. Just allow whatever wants to come through. Because hidden in that empty space is the seed of your next great adventure. If the void is the blank canvas of midlife, then imagination is the brush that paints your new picture. Neville Goddard built his entire teaching on one central truth. Your imagination creates reality. This isn't just positive thinking. It's not about wishing or hoping. It's about assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and living from that place, even before you see it with your physical eyes. One of Neville's core teachings is the power of the phrase, I am. Every time you say, I am, you are declaring an identity. You are claiming something as true about yourself. I am tired. I am broke. I am stuck. Each of these phrases reinforces a state of being that then reflects itself back in your world. But the good news, you can also choose new I am statements. I am vibrant. I am full of purpose. I am discovering new passions every day. I am living a full life in this new chapter. The difference may sound small, but Neville reminded us, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. In the earlier seasons of life, our I ams were often given to us by others. I am a mother. I am a provider. I am a caretaker. I am an employee. But when those roles shift or fall away, we're left with a golden opportunity we get to choose for ourselves. You don't have to hold on to outdated I ams that no longer serve you. You can redefine your identity in your own terms. This is the essence of reinvention. Here's an exercise I'd love for you to try. List your old I ams. Write down every identity or role you've held that feels like it's slipping away or no longer fits. Be honest. It might include things like, I am needed, I am busy, I am exhausted, I'm a parent with children at home, or even I am too old. Acknowledge them. Thank those roles for what they brought into your life. They mattered. They served a purpose, but they don't have to define your next chapter. Rewrite them. For each old I am, write a new one, something expansive, something that opens doors. For example, the old, I'm exhausted, becomes the new. I am energized by what excites me. I am a parent of young children can become, I am a guide and a friend to my adult children. I am too old to start something new becomes, I am exactly the right age to live my purpose. Now speak these new I ams daily. Each morning, stand in front of the mirror, look into your own eyes, and declare your new I am. Feel them as though they are true right now. This may sound simple, but simple doesn't mean small. This practice shifts your entire state of being, and when your state changes, your life must follow. Rosa, age 49, spent most of her adult life as a stay-at-home mom. Her identity was wrapped up in cooking, driving, caring, managing. When her youngest son left for college, she felt invisible. Her old I ams sounded like this. I am a mother who is no longer needed. I am too late to build a career. I am lost. But Rosa decided to try Neville's teachings. She rewrote her story. Her new I ams became, I am a writer. I am a storyteller. I am someone whose voice matters. At first, it felt like play acting, but she persisted. She began journaling every day. Then she joined a local writing group. Within a year, Rosa had her first story published in an anthology. The world reflected her new identity. When you no longer have external roles directing your days, you need a new compass. That compass is your imagination. Here's how Neville put it. Imagination is the very gateway of reality. Man, through his imaginative power, creates that which he desires. So when you're standing in the void, unsure of which way to turn, don't ask, what does the world expect of me? Instead ask, what does my imagination reveal to me? If you allow yourself to dream, even for a few quiet moments each day, you'll begin to see the outlines of a new life emerging. Let's do a short guided practice together. Take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders. Close your eyes if you can. Now bring to mind one old I am that no longer fits you. Maybe it's I'm stuck or I'm too late. See that phrase written on a chalkboard in your mind. And now, with an eraser, wipe it away. The board is clear, empty, waiting. Now write your new I am. Perhaps it's I am alive with purpose, or I am free to create, or I'm living the best years of my life now. See it written clearly. Say it silently or aloud. I am. Feel it in your body. Let it take root. This is how new beginnings are born. When you redefine your I am, you redefine your life. Neville said, you will become as small as your controlling desire, as great as your dominant aspiration. So let your dominant aspiration at midlife be this, to live fully, to live authentically, and to live from the power of your imagination. Because the second half of life is not about decline, it's about expansion. We've talked about the void, and we've explored the power of imagination to redefine who you are at this stage of life. Now let's look at what it really means to move from empty nest or any midlife transition into a full life. And to do that, I want to share some stories. Because sometimes the best way to see what's possible for you is to witness what has been possible for others. Let's start with Anita. At 53, she found herself staring at a quiet house after her last child left home. For decades, she had told herself, one day, when the kids are gone, I'll travel. But when that day came, fear crept in. She told herself, I'm too old to start now. Travel is for the young. But then she remembered Neville's words. Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption. So, Anita began a new assumption. Each night, she imagined herself stepping off a plane in Italy, smelling the espresso, feeling the cobblestones under her feet. She didn't just see it, she felt it. Within a year, she joined a travel group for women over 50 and spent 3 weeks exploring Europe. That trip became the beginning of a new passion. Now she organizes trips for others in midlife who want to see the world. Her nest was empty, but her passport and her heart were full. Then there's David. At 47, he had been in the same career for over 20 years. It paid the bills, but each day it felt heavier. He dreaded Mondays. He dreamed of doing something different, but told himself it's too late to start over. David discovered Neville's concept of living in the end. Instead of focusing on how stuck he felt, he began to imagine himself walking into a different kind of office. A wellness center where he worked as a coach. He felt the satisfaction of helping clients. He imagined signing his name as David, Life Coach. Step by step, the outer world rearranged itself. He trained, got certified, and within 2 years, he had transitioned into his new career. David says, I thought my life was winding down. Instead, it was winding up. Then we have Maya. At 50, Maya had been divorced for several years. Her kids were grown. Her career steady, but uninspiring. She often told herself, my creative days are behind me. But inside, she longed to paint. She remembered being a teenager, sitting for hours with her sketchbook, losing herself in colors and lines. So she started with Neville's technique of inner conversations, imagining people praising her artwork, seeing herself signing her name on the corner of a canvas. One day she bought a set of paints. She set up a small studio in a spare room. Within months, she was showing her art in local galleries. Today she calls herself not just an artist, but a thriving artist. Maya didn't just rediscover a hobby, she rediscovered herself. Another story is George, 55, who began to feel his body slowing down. He accepted the identity of I'm old until a health scare jolted him awake. Instead of resigning himself, he decided to imagine a new version of himself. Every night he saw himself hiking a mountain, strong and full of energy. He assumed the feeling of health. That assumption led him to change his habits, eating better, walking daily, lifting weights. A year later, George completed a half marathon. His void had led him to vitality. Finally, there's Sarah. At 50, after divorce and an empty nest, she felt painfully alone. The silence of her house echoed with loneliness. But Sarah used her imagination differently. She pictured herself surrounded by friends, laughing around a dinner table, hosting gatherings that filled her home with warmth. Guided by this vision, she started a monthly potluck for neighbors. Over time, it grew into a vibrant community circle that meets regularly for meals, book discussions, and support. Sarah says, I thought I had lost my family, but I discovered that family can also be chosen. Each of these people, Anita, David, Maya, George, and Sarah, faced the same thing, a void, a transition, a space where the old roles no longer defined them. At first, it felt like loss, but through imagination, they turned that space into creation. Anita traveled, David reinvented his career, Maya awakened her creativity, George reclaimed his health, and Sarah built a community. Different paths, different outcomes, but the same principle at work. They dared to imagine a new identity, and the world conformed to that assumption. Now, I want to ask you, what dream have you carried quietly in your heart? What vision whispers to you in the stillness of the night? What might your full life look like if you allowed yourself to believe it were possible? Take a moment, close your eyes if you can, and imagine yourself living that reality, not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Because the truth is, the transition from emptiness to full life doesn't begin with a change out there. It begins with a shift in here, in your imagination, in your I am. We've explored the void. We've talked about imagination and redefining your I am. We've even seen examples of people who transformed their midlife journey into something vibrant and fulfilling. Now let's talk about how you can begin. Neville Goddard taught us simple but profound practices, tools you can apply daily to shift your inner world. which inevitably shifts your outer reality. Think of these as your compass, guiding you from uncertainty to clarity, from emptiness to purpose. One of the most powerful yet overlooked practices is journaling. Not the kind where you just record what happened during the day, but the kind where you write your future into being. Neville said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption until it becomes your reality." Journaling is a way to embody that assumption. Try this. Each morning, write in your journal as if you are already living the life you desire. Use present tense. For example, I am waking up in my dream home, excited for the day ahead. I am surrounded by love and meaningful work. I am grateful for my healthy, strong body. At first, it may feel like fantasy, but over time, it imprints a new reality into your subconscious. Here's a tip. Keep your future self journal separate from your daily one. This becomes your sacred space for imagination. Neville often spoke about inner conversations, the quiet, ongoing dialogue you have in your mind. Most of us allow this dialogue to run on autopilot. I am too old. Nothing ever changes. I am stuck. But what if you consciously rewrote these conversations? Next time you catch yourself rehearsing doubts, pause. Replace them with new inner conversations. Hear your children telling you, "I'm so proud of you for following your dreams." Imagine a friend saying, "You look so alive these days." Picture yourself answering someone who asks, "What do you do?" with confidence and joy. Your mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined conversations. It accepts them as truth, and your outer world adjusts to match. Purpose often flourishes in connection. Midlife can feel isolating when old communities dissolve, children grow up, co-workers retire, relationships change. But this is your chance to create new circles aligned with your future self. Join groups or classes related to what excites you. Art, fitness, travel, or spirituality. Attend workshops or retreats where people are also reinventing themselves. Even online communities can be powerful if they uplift and inspire. When you surround yourself with people who affirm your new identity, it becomes easier to hold the vision. Neville reminded us, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. That includes the people you attract. This is the heart of Neville's teaching. Living in the end means imagining yourself already being, doing, or having what you desire. It's not daydreaming, it's assumption. Here's how you practice. Before bed, enter a relaxed state. Imagine a simple scene that implies your desire is fulfilled. For example, a friend congratulating you on your new business or holding the keys to your new home. Feel the emotions, hear the words, make it vivid. Drift into sleep in that state. Neville said, "Sleep, the life that occupies 1/3 of your stay on the earth. It is the natural door into the subconscious." By impressing your desire upon the subconscious before you sleep, you set creation in motion. One of Neville's most powerful techniques is revision. Many of us carry regrets from the past, choices we wish we had made differently, words we wish we had spoken. These regrets can weigh us down in midlife, convincing us that it's too late. But Neville taught that the past is as malleable as the future. Here's how revision works. Recall a past event that troubles you. Instead of replaying it as it happened, imagine it as you wish it had happened. Replay the new version until it feels real. For example, if you regret not pursuing a career in art, imagine yourself receiving praise for your painting years ago. Feel it as though it really happened. This isn't about denial. It's about healing the emotional charge of the past and freeing yourself to create a different future. Finally, bring it all together with daily I am statements. Each morning, declare aloud, "I am full of purpose. I am living a life I love. I am the author of my second chapter." Say them with conviction. Say them until your body feels the truth of them. Over time, your words carve new grooves into your subconscious, and your life will naturally rise to meet those grooves. Here's a suggested daily routine. In the morning, write a page in your future self journal. During the day, catch and shift inner conversations. In the evening, revise any moments that didn't go as you'd like. And before sleep, Practice living in the end, imagining your fulfilled desire. That's it. Small, consistent practices that build momentum toward a new life. Remember, you don't have to change everything at once. Start small. Pick one practice and commit to it daily. Because transformation doesn't happen in one grand leap. It happens in steady, faithful steps. One journal entry, one new inner conversation, one bedtime scene at a time. Neville said, "An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. So assume the best about yourself. Assume purpose. Assume joy. Assume life is just beginning for you, and watch as the outer world bends to your new assumption." We've walked a long road together in this conversation. Through the valleys of midlife uncertainty, across the bridge of imagination, into the practices that can redefine your sense of self. Now let's take a moment to pause, to breathe, to let it all sink in. Midlife is often painted as a crisis, as a decline, as the beginning of the end. But what if, instead, it is the threshold to your greatest chapter? Think of it this way. When you were younger, you had energy, yes, but you also had uncertainty, distraction, the demands of survival. You were building careers, raising families, proving yourself. Now at 45, 50, 55, you have wisdom, you have perspective. You've lived enough life to know what truly matters. And you still have decades ahead. Decades to create, to explore, to love, to build. Decades to live as the fullest version of yourself. Neville said, "You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it." This stage of life is not about shrinking. It's about expanding. It's about finally giving yourself permission to become what you've secretly longed for all along. It's important to know you're not walking this path by yourself. Every day, millions of people around the world waking up in midlife and whisper to themselves, "There has to be more." And there is. Look at the countless men and women who have reinvented themselves after 45. Entrepreneurs who started businesses in their 50s. Artists who picked up brushes for the first time and filled galleries. Travelers who finally saw the world they dreamed of as children. Coaches, mentors, healers who turned their life experience into service. Your story is still unfolding, and it can unfold in ways more beautiful than you can currently imagine. I know there will be days when doubt creeps in, when the old voices whisper, "It's too late, you missed your chance. Who do you think you are?" When that happens, remember Neville's words. Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. You don't need to know the how. You only need to claim the what and persist in it. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You don't dig them up every morning to see if they've sprouted. Instead, you water them, you trust the process. You keep imagining the harvest, and in time, the harvest comes. Let's try something together right now. Close your eyes if you can, take a deep breath in, and let it out slowly. Now, imagine yourself 5 years from today. You are thriving, you are radiant, you are living with joy and purpose. See yourself waking up in the morning with energy. See yourself smiling at the mirror, proud of who you've become. Picture yourself surrounded by people who love and respect you. Hear the laughter, the conversations, the moments of connection. And most of all, feel the quiet contentment inside, the knowing that you are living true to your heart. Hold that picture for a moment. This is the gift of imagination. This is your future self calling you forward. And every time you return to this vision, you bring it closer to reality. So here's my invitation to you. Don't let midlife be a season of decline. Let it be the launch pad for the life you've always wanted. Take the practices we've talked about, journaling, inner conversations, community, imagination, revision, daily declarations, and begin today. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because your life is waiting for you. Your purpose is waiting for you. And you, yes you, are worthy of it all. Neville Goddard once said, "Change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live." That's not just philosophy, it's truth. And it's the truth you can live starting now. So as you close this video, carry this reminder with you. You are not too old. It is not too late. Your best chapter has not been written yet. You hold the pen, and the story of your purpose is waiting to be told. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message has touched you, if it has lit even the smallest spark of possibility in your heart, then I invite you to keep journeying with me. Together, we'll discover not just our dreams, but our power to bring them to life. You've just taken a powerful step, investing time in yourself, in your growth, in your next chapter. That alone speaks volumes about who you are becoming. But remember, transformation isn't about listening once and moving on. It's about practice. It's about community. It's about staying connected to the vision until it becomes your reality. If this message resonated with you, here's what you can do right now. Subscribe to this channel, Discover Your Dreams, so you don't miss the next video. We're building a library of teachings and tools designed to guide you through this season of reinvention. Share this video with a friend who might be feeling stuck, lonely, or unsure in midlife. You never know. The message that sparked something in you could be exactly what they need too. Join the conversation in the comments below. Tell me what dream you've been carrying quietly in your heart. What is one step you can take this week to honor it? Your words matter here. You never know who your story might inspire. I'll leave you with this. Midlife is not the end. It is the awakening, the blossoming, the return to yourself. Neville Goddard taught us that imagination creates reality. So dare to imagine a life full of joy, love, purpose, and fulfillment. Dare to live in that vision. Dare to believe it is yours, because it is. This is your time. This is your chapter, and the best is yet to come. Thank you for being here with me. I'll see you in the next video.